Hello and welcome to another exam paper walkthrough. Today we're looking at a set of practice papers or predicted papers from a company called Third Space Learning. Third Space Learning are a maths revision site. They've produced a very good set of papers. I did paper 1 in the build up to my year 11's paper 1, and I'm going to do this paper 2. So this is a predicted paper prior to paper 1 being done. So there are going to be several coming up on where we've taken the topics that have come out of paper 1 off the spec and generate papers based on that. This isn't one of those. This was written before paper 1 was sat, but it is a great source of revision. So if you want any more material, feel free to check them out. Today I'm going to be using my, let me just get it up and running. I'm going to be using my old FX82 emulator just because I can do that quite nicely and easily on the screen. Okay, so we'll kick off with question 1. So question 1, we're looking at write 0.75 as a fraction in its simplest form. So I'm going to start by saying that that's going to be, let me get my pen on. I'm going to start by saying that's the same as 75 hundredths or 75 out of 100. And then I'm going to be, well, I can cancel it down using my calculator, but I'm going to say that 25 goes into both 75 and 100. It goes 3 times into 75. And 25 times into 100. So I'm looking at 3, and I'm misspeaking there. So 25 goes 3 times into 75 and 4 times into 100. So I'm looking at 3 out of 4. And the marks for that are just going to be 1 mark, B1 mark, correct answer only. So question 2, change 230 centimeters into meters. I'm just going to go full screen at this point. So if I'm changing this into centimeters, well, I know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So there are going to be, in 230 centimeters, there are going to be 2.3 meters, so 2.3. Right, marks for that then, it is just going to be a B1 correct answer only. So B1. Question 3 then, write down 2 factors of 21. So any 2 is absolutely fine. I'm getting into this habit of just going with the first 2, so 1 and 3. Although there's going to be lots of others, so I'll list them all. 1, 3, 721. Have I got any more? I can't find any, so I'm going to go any 2 of those. Right, and we're just going to go, I'm sure, a B1 mark again. Question 3 then, find the value of 2.1 squared. So 2.1 squared, we're looking at 2.1 times 2.1. I'm going to treat it as 21 times by 21 and then discuss it afterwards. So I'm going to do 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 0 in the units column, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. When I add those numbers together, then I get 1, 4, 4. So in effect, 2.1 times by 2.1 will have the digits of 441. I've got 2 decimal digits in my question, so I'll have 2 in my answer. So I'm going for the digits 4.41. Okay, and marks for that then, we are going to go for, it is just a B1 again, correct answer only. Question 5, here's a list of numbers. From the list, write down a cube number. So cube number is a number that times by itself 3 times to give you your answer. So we're looking at 27 is our cube number because 3 cubed is 27. So 27. And again, we're just going to be looking at a B1 mark for that. Right, question 6. Ben and Maisie go to the cinema. Here is the price for this: tickets, popcorn, sweets, crisps, drink. Ben and Maisie buy a ticket each. Ben has popcorn and a drink. Maisie has sweets and a drink. They pay together with a £20 note. How much change do they get? Okay, so I'm going to, because this is a calculator paper, I'm going to get no marks for actually doing the sums themselves. So what I'm going to do is just underline the key bits of information. So I need 2 tickets. Right, so I need 2 times by 4.99 plus they both have a drink, so I can add the drinks. 2 times by £2.10 plus Ben has a popcorn, which is £2.50, and Maisie has sweets, so 1.95. So I'll jump straight to my calculator for that then. So I'm going to go 2 times by 4.99 plus 2 times by £2.10 or 2.1 plus £2.50 or 2.5 plus 1.95, and that gives me the value of, and I'll go decimal, we're going to go £18.63. So how much change do they get? It would be 20 minus £18.63. So that's going to give me 20 minus the answer I've just worked out will give me as a decimal 1.37. So that's going to be £1.37. Okay, marks for that then. So let me just zoom in on this slightly. Right, M1 for attempting to add up 2 lots of £4.99 plus 2 times £1.90. Oh, okay. So slightly different order, but exactly the same digits, just in a different order. A1 for £18.63 and then an A1 for £1.37. Nia is n years old. Nia is twice as old as Ifran. Write an expression in terms of n for Ifran's age. So if that's just going to be 2n. Sorry, no, wrong way around. Nia is twice as old as Ifran. So Ifran is half Nia's age, so I'm going to go n over 2. And we're looking at just a B1 mark for that. Question 8. The pictogram shows information about the number of Year 7 students who had dinners on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. On Thursday, 20 students had school dinners. Use this information to complete the pictogram. So key thing here is going to be our key. So each full square represents 8 students. So we're going to do 20 divided by 8 will tell us the number of full blocks. So we're looking at 2.5 blocks. So try and draw them. It doesn't need to be perfect by any means, but as close to make it clear that you're attempting to make similar diagrams to the ones in the key. And a half, I always tend to go for display half however it's shown in the question, but it's not actually shown in this one. So realistically, it doesn't really matter whether we draw a half like that or a half like that, because it's not shown which one of those two would represent a half, so it doesn't matter. Okay, part B. There are 56 students in Year 7. Lily says that on Tuesday, more than half of the students in Year 7 had school dinners. Is Lily correct? So let's find out. Well, 56 divided by 2 is equal to 28. Double check every calculation you do on a calculator paper. I'm very common make silly mistakes, and that's the definition of a silly mistake. Right, so on Tuesday we're looking at 3 3/4 of a block. So if I do 3 3/4 times by 8, so shift mixed fraction 3 3/4 times by 8 So there are 30 students that had lunch on Tuesday. Is Lily correct? Lily says that on Tuesday more than half. Yes, she is correct, as half of 56 is 28, and 30 students had lunch on Tuesday. Okay, have we got part C? We haven't, so let's look at the marks where they're awarded for this, if I've picked them up. Right, so we are looking at question 8 now. So it was 2.5, and they've shown the half differently in the mark scheme, but we would be absolutely fine with what we've done. Right, and then we've got Tuesday, M1 for showing that there are 30 students on Tuesday, and B1 for a correct statement. And they've suggested the statement, yes, 30 students had lunch, had school dinners on 30 is more than half of 56, or something in those lines. So we've got M1 there, and then B1 for correct statement. Okay, question 9. Here is a number machine. Work out the output when the input is 5. So the input is 5, so we've got 5 going in there. 5 times by 6 would give us 30, and then 30 plus 10 would give us 40, so the output would be 40. Willow is going to create a different number machine. She wants the output to be 16 when the input is 3. Complete the function machine to show 2 different combinations that she could use. Okay, so we want 3 to be our input for both, and we want 16 to be our output. So obviously not the only options, but we could have had times by 2 would give us 6 here, and then plus 10 would give us 16, or we could have times by 3 and then plus that would give us 9 here, and then 9 plus 7 would give us, and then I'll put in another one, so we could have had 4, so times by 4, that would give us 12, and then we would need to plus 4, and I'll stop there. There are other options, but those are going to be the most likely ones. Right, marks then. Where are we? So this is question 9. So we have got A1 for 40 for the first part, and for part B, they are M1 for correct first numbers, and they've got various options. There are plenty of others. You didn't need to have a plus number here. We could have had times by 6 and then minus 2. The ones that they've suggested are times by 6 minus 2, times by 5, and then plus 1. Times by 4 and then plus 4, and then times by 6 and plus 7. Okay, great. So it is A1 for correct number machine, A2, and then another A1 for 2 correct function machines. So we've got A2 there. Okay, question 10. Here's a list of numbers. Work out the mean of those numbers. So I want to add them all up. So I'm going to kind of show pluses in between them. So 4 plus 11 plus 7 plus 9 plus 4, and I've missed out my 9, plus 1 plus 2 plus 6 gives me a total of 44 there. And then I need to divide that by the number of numbers. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. So divided by 8. And that gives us 11 over 2, or 5.5. And then we've got work out the median. This can be, ideally we'd have them in ascending order or descending order, and then it's much easier to arrange them. But I'll take my kind of shortcut for this. If we've got 8 numbers, the median is going to be 8 plus 1 divided by 2. So the median I'm actually looking for would be 4.5. So I need the 4th and the 5th number. So the 4th number and the 5th number. So the 4th number, if I go in size order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the median is going to be 4 plus 6 divided by 2. So 10 divided by 2, so that's going to give us the median would be 5. C, one number is picked at random. What is the probability that it is a square number? So we've got, that's a square number, that's a square number, that's a square number. So we've got 3 square numbers, so it's just going to be 3 out of 8. I missed a square number, 4 out of 8. Which is going to be the same as a half. Okay, and if we look at the marks for that then, M1 for attempting to add all the numbers and divide by 8. So we have got, we'll go M1 there and then A1 there. For part B, we have got numbers in order and attempting to find the middle value. So I'm going to say that that's what I've done there. And then A1 for 5. And for the final part, square numbers 1, 4, 9, square numbers identified or 4 square numbers seen, and then A1 for 4 over 8 or equivalent. So you didn't need to simplify that fraction down. We'll go M1, A1. And question 11. Harry gets paid £11.20 per hour. On Monday, he starts work at 9:15 and finishes at 16:45. How much does Harry get paid on Monday? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this kind of a traditional way, and then I'll use my calculator to just double check. So I'm going to do a kind of a chunking method. So if I go from 9:15 to 10 o'clock, from 10 o'clock to 10:40. From 10 o'clock to 1600, and then from 1600 to 1645. So the number of, I've got 45 minutes there. I've got 6 hours there. And then I've got 45 minutes there. So that's going to be 2 lots of 45 is going to be 90 minutes or an hour and a half. So we're working for it 7.5 hours. So I'm going to call it 7.5, and I need to do 7.5 times by 11.2. So 7.5 times by 11.2 gives me £84. And I'll kind of show anyone that's particularly interested in this. I can work out this time difference using the time button on my calculator. So if I type it into my calculator as 16, then use the time function, hours 45 time function, and then I want to subtract from that 9 time function, 15 time function. That should give me, and we'll see what that gives me, 16 time function, 45 time function, minus 9 hours and 15 minutes, and we get 6 hours and 30. If I want that to decimal, that's the same as 7.5, and then times that. Let's just go. So we had 730, and then we'd still times that by 11 and still get 84. Okay, it takes Harry 12 minutes to walk to the bus station. He gets off the bus at Kingfisher Close, and it takes him 4 minutes to walk home. Here is a selection of bus timetables. What is the earliest time Harry could arrive home on Monday? So So we're starting at this time. So we're saying in effect 16:45. We want to add on 12 minutes. So that means that the earliest he can get to the bus stop is 16:57. So the bus station, the earliest bus that he can catch is this one. So he would get home at he would get to Kingsfisher Close at 17:17, and then he has to walk home, which takes 4 minutes. So the earliest he can get home is 17:21. So 17:21. Okay, and marks for that question then. So if we go to the first part, where are we? There we are. So it is M1 for 7.5. So M1, I hope if I use the colour that I've not already used, we'll go purple. So M1 for the 7.5 or 730, and then A1 for £84. For the second part, we've got M1 for the 703 bus identified, which I think arguably we could say is there. M1, he gets off the bus at this time, and then A1 for 17:21. Right, question 12, solve. X plus 11 is equal to 20. So I'm going to minus 11 from both sides. That will give me X is equal to 9. So X is equal to 9. Solve this time, we want to add 5 onto both sides to start with. So X over 3 is going to be equal to 11, and then times both sides by 3. X would be equal to 33. And marks for that then, right, we have 1 mark for just the 9, so A1, and then for the second one we have M1 for 11 and then A1 for 33. Question 13. Here are the test results of 3 students, Jack, Jasmine and Sam. Yasmin says, I have done the best as I got the highest mark. By comparing fractions, decide whether Yasmin is correct. Right, it does say by comparing fractions. So I would normally just convert them into being the same decimal value, but it says by comparing fractions. So we're going to look for the lowest common multiple of 12, 20 and 15, which is going to be 60. So I'm going to convert them to both being fractions over 60, all being fractions over 60. To do that, I need to times the first one by 5. So we've got 50 over 60. To convert the other one, we're timesing by 3, so we're going to have 45. And the final one we're timesing by 4, so it's going to be 44. So is Yasmin correct? No. So no. Jack has got the highest mark. Right, what do I think of that? I'm going to assume, well, I'm fairly confident that that will get me the marks for the question. But technically speaking, Yasmin does have the highest mark. She doesn't have the highest percentage or the highest proportion correct, but she does have the highest mark. I'm not sure if that will be picked up though, but we'll have a look. Right, marks for that. Let's have a look, see whether that is picked up. So we've got M1 for attempt to put the fractions over common denominators with at least one of them correct. So we've got an M1. M1 for 3 correct fractions with common denominators. So M1. So it is fairly insistent on the idea of the fractions. And then it says correct statements. No, Jack's score was the best. Didn't say was. Oh, sorry. I've misread it. I have done the best as I got the highest mark. You can't really say that Yasmin did the best, because even though she got the highest mark, she has not got the highest. Let's go highest score, percentage, proportion, the highest proportion. The mark scheme said no, Jack's score was the best. I think highest proportion is slightly better worded, but that's absolutely fine. And I would have got the mark for that. I would just been a bit more specific. Question 14. Here is a triangle. The angles in the triangle in the ratio 2 to 3 to 4 work out the size of the smallest angle. So we're splitting 90 degrees in the ratio 2 to 3 to 4. So if we're splitting 180 degrees, the angle sum of a triangle, into 2 to 3 to 4, that means we've got 9 parts. So we're doing 180 divided by 9, which is going to give us 20. So each part is going to be worth 20. It just says the size of the smallest, so that's going to be 2 times 20, which would give us 40. Okay, and marks for that then. But that might be a second part. Marks for that then are M1 for attempt to divide 180 in the ratio 2 to 3 to 4. So 180 divided by 9 equals 20. Okay, so we will go, that's very similar wording. We'll go M1 for finding 20, and then A1 for 40. Right, calculate, write down all the figures on your calculator display. So I'm going to use my calculator to type this in exactly as it appears. So the square root of 37 plus 2.9, and I want to divide that by 5.1. So double check that I've typed that in correctly. Okay, so we're looking at writing down all the figures from my calculator display. 1.238557778. Okay, and we're going to have to go M1, A1 here. And range your answer to part A, correct 3 significant figures. Oh, I shouldn't have marked that first, but that's fine. So the third significant figure is this 3. Currently the number behind it is a 8, so we'd round it up to 1.24. And for that it is a B1 mark.